Hey everybody, today we're going to be taking the Monster Energy motorcycle on the streets, the twisties, and the freeways, and we're going to be showing you how to ride a motorcycle for the very first time. So let's set this here and let's get the camera situated so we're hands-free. And let's go through some things before we get started. Now, if you're a new rider, this is going to be a little bit more advanced for you. This is like, you know, if you want to move up to a 600, we're on a 600 motorcycle right now. And this is a heavier bike, a more powerful bike. So we're going to be showing you some things, how to ride it. Let's put the Monster Energy drink in the backpack for now. Get the backpack on, and let's get going. We're going to sit on the bike and show you some things first, and then I'm going to get off and show you the shift levers and all that. Let's start. We're going to work our way right to left. This is braking. Everything traditionally on Japanese bikes, and we're on a Suzuki Katana, is braking. This is the front brake here. Now, this is the rear brake. Let me see, put the kickstand down. See how I put my foot here? See how my toe is kind of going down right there like that? That's how you brake with the rear brake. Most of the braking power is with the front brake. You have the fuel gauge, clock, oil pressure light, tachometer here, and then you have the speedometer here. You have the throttle here. This is a kill switch. Get in the habit of shutting this off here in case emergencies happen. This is the starter. On this bike, you have to hold the clutch in while starting it. This is the hazard light in case you run into a hazard or you crash or you have to maybe get a flat on the freeway, something like that. Let's get off the bike, show you this. Excuse me, very, very hot in California today, about 100. On the Katana, see how it's pointing down to on? You also have a reserve. So let's say your bike's starting to run out. You can turn this even while you're riding. I've had to do that a couple of times, and then you'll tap into this reserve fuel that's in your tank. This right here, this where you could prime it. If your bike's been sitting a long time, you turn the arrow here. This will saturate the carbs and everything. It'll saturate it, and it makes it where the gasoline, it'll help it to start better. You never want to start the bike here, but you kind of turn it here, let it sit for a while, turn it back to on, and then start it. Now let's talk a little bit about this shift lever, shall we? This shift lever here goes up and it goes down, and then there's a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. It's kind of showing you the shift lever right here, like the gears. But just imagine a ladder. First gear is my pinky, and then there's neutral here, and then second. And this bike has 6 gears. Some bikes have 5 gears. They have different amounts of gears. A lot of them have 6 gears. It's the same concept. So yours first and neutral and second. So when I'm in first, if I slightly, just a little tap, you put your foot here like this and just slightly tap up, just not real hard, just like a little light tap. You'll get used to it. There's the certain amount of pressure you put on it, you'll go into neutral. So we're going to show you that. But if you just go first and you just tap up normally with the pressure, you'll bypass second, you'll bypass neutral, I should say, you'll be right into second. Now, for those of you that are newer riders, we're going to show you some things. Going to turn the key, and then you have to hold the clutch lever in. We just started it. Now we're going to give it a few revs for our friends down in Fort Worth, Texas. D&D exhaust. So I really like the sound of it. Let's open up the helmet visor, get some air in here. Oh, I can't wait till we go. It's very, very hot. Now on the left, everything is shifting. This handlebar here doesn't do anything. It just, you know, hold on to. You have this little light here, flash to pass light, and when I go like this, the lights on the front headlight will flash like, hey, I'm passing. This is the carburetor level, the choke, I should say, if you want to start your bike in the cold. I rarely have to use this in California. This is the turn signals. You turn left, you turn right, you push in to stop it from blinking. Now, you've already know about the shifting, how it works. There's first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? Well, let's put the kickstand up, and I'm going to show you something. Watch the neutral light on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. See how the neutral light goes out? So we're now in first gear. If I slightly tap up, you'll notice that, let's go ahead and do that right now. I would be, whoops, I passed it. There it is. I'm in neutral. So, you guys ready for some freeway riding? We're going to see if we can do freeway riding, some twisties, and this is more challenging on this type of bike, the twisties. So we're in first. Watch what we're going to do. We're slowly going to let the clutch out, and as soon as you feel the bike moving, I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle while slowly letting the clutch out. See that? Now we're in gear, and oh, thank goodness we're getting some air into the clutch in, starting to brake. Very challenging compared to a Ninja 250. What I want you guys to do is click below this video and look at the video we did, how to ride a motorcycle for beginners on a Ninja 250. So much easier on a 250, but this bike has a lot more power than the 250. A lot more. And now notice we tap down from second into neutral, and I'm braking. We're going to talk to you about some hazards of motorcycle riding. When you're new, when you go to take off, for God's sakes, make sure you're in gear before you lift both of your feet up on the peg. So watch. I'm in first, but make sure you don't pop it out of gear, right? So watch this. I'm going to start going once these cars go. If you mess up on first gear, immediately put your feet down and pull the clutch lever in. So watch. We're going to, feet are still down. Now I'm moving, I pull up. Clutch lever in, kick up to second. Getting on the freeway, clutch lever in, kick up to third. Now, this is a great bike to practice on if you're interested in getting a 600, clutch lever in, kick up to fourth. Because it is a more challenging bike to ride. This isn't some light Ninja 250 style sport bike. It's heavy. Clutch in, kick up fifth. But what I really want you guys to do, hold on, clutch in, kick up sixth. Notice how effortlessly we're up to speed, and you're going to feel so much more safer on a 600 on the freeway. So much more. Now, notice we have power on tap. This thing, the 600 just keeps pulling and pulling. You don't feel like it's struggling to get power, and this is why is everyone stopping? I'm over here like speeding up and everyone's stopping in front of me. This is why some guys that are more seasoned riders will say, you got to get a 600, you know, don't start off at a 250, because they know what it's like to be on the freeway. So it's always been a quandary. Do you start off on a 250 or do you start off on a 600? And I have an answer to that I think is accurate. Everyone is different. It depends how you're going to be riding. So, like, I ride long distances, and I ride in strong winds. There's winds here in California called Santa Ana winds. Very strong. And on a light bike, I'm sorry, I just don't feel safe. It moves me all over the place. This bike is awesome. It stays planted. I mean, it's not a big boat. It's got power, more than the 250 does. And but it's comfortable. And this is more of a this bike's more of a true riding bike. It's like a quasi-sport touring bike. So you have comfort, but you also have, you know, bigger engine displacement than the 250. So let's get on it a bit. I want to show you something. And also, this bike, it just seems like you don't get buffeted by the wind. You know, the wind's just totally going over me. It's a very comfortable bike. However, you're going to notice that our praise for the bike is not as high once we take it into the twisties. So if you're in an area that has a lot of twists and turns, maybe the Ninja 250 would be better for you, for example. I personally like this bike more for long distances. If I'm just going to be going around the twisties, or you know, some short treks like 30 miles or whatnot, then I will stick with the Ninja 250. The Ninja 250 is a lot of fun going around corners and on the twisties and stuff, but for long monotonous rides you want weight on the bike. This is a very heavy bike. Look up the difference in weight between Suzuki Katana, and click below this video and you'll notice it'll say YouTube, da-da-da. That's like, there's a long link there for the Ninja 250 review that we did, and where we show you how to ride a motorcycle for the very first time on a Ninja 250. So we're going to get on this a bit. I have earplugs on because little sponge earplugs, because the noise after a while, it could damage your hearing from the freeway. There's about 3 things you need to learn when you're going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Braking, you know how to stop properly. Shifting, how to go up and down the gears. Remember, it's like a ladder: first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, neutral first. You're always going up and down this ladder. And then, of course, counter steering. Now, what counter steering is, I'm going to use it when I get off this off-ramp. We're going to go sharp corner to the right. I'm going to actually pull towards me here and push out this way, and it leans the bike to the right. This bike, you really have to counter steer a lot on this bike. I mean, seriously, look at this. You really got to lean it. The Ninja 250 is just effortless in the corners, but this one, with the weight of it and everything, and it's just, you really got to utilize counter steering. Now notice, as I'm coming to the stop, I'm tapping down and I'm in neutral. Here's what you do. I like to hold it in neutral. Notice, just keep it neutral. Now that the light's green, I have time, kick it into first, slowly let the clutch out. You start giving it some throttle, you're in first. Clutch in, kick up to second, release the clutch. Everyone always asks, do you release the throttle between shifts? Yes, watch. Clutch in, kick up third, then I roll back on. See how I do that? Clutch in, kick up fourth, then I roll back on. Now, hopefully I get a light, because I want to show you how to come to a stop. Notice I'm in fourth gear. I'm not coasting in neutral. You always want to match the speed of your bike with the gear you're in. Clutch in, kick up fifth, and then clutch in, kick up sixth. So if you ever go on YouTube and you type in motorcycle crashes, you'll notice a lot of the crashes happen around corners. Now I want to show you something. I got to interrupt. Clutch in, kick down to fifth. Notice we're not using the throttle. Clutch in, kick down to fourth. See how we're trying to do it, we don't have to put our feet down. Clutch in, kick down to third. The light's probably going to change. Clutch in, kick down to second. We're still rolling. There's people kind of like way back there. The guy's just catching up. Now notice I can start moving. That's why you always want to downshift as you're slowing down, and as you're speeding up, you know, upshift. Don't get to the light and then be lazy and you're in sixth gear, because you just, a lot of people, no offense, but they'll be lazy. They'll just hold the clutch lever in and they won't downshift as they're approaching the light, and then all of a sudden the light changes and they're like, oh my gosh, what gear am I in? And maybe they're like in second or third, but they're going too fast because they're coasting, and then you just ruin your motorcycle, or you get ran over, or worse yet, you stall it because you're in the wrong gear. You want to match the speed. Notice it's 50 and 5,000 RPMs, 50 miles per hour. We'd go faster, but there's people here. Now, they're in front of us. So we're going to do some counter steering. As we take this corner to the right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this handlebar towards me this way, and I'm going to apply pressure out that way, okay? I'll show you when we're going to do it. Now, right now I'm doing it the opposite. I'm pulling towards me here like this, see? But this sharper corner coming up here to the right, what we're going to do, we're going to pull towards us here on the left and push out here towards the right. Watch. What gear were we in? 5th gear, 6th gear. So here comes the corner. Let's get some space here. Okay, we're going to speed up. I want to speed up so I can show you. Watch, I'm going to pull back here on the left. Here goes, watch. Notice how we're not going over the yellow line. I'm pulling towards me, and I'm actually pushing this way. Now notice that sign says we got some twists and turns. Now what I'm doing with the right handlebar, I'm pulling towards me. So when one handlebar is going towards you, the other one is going outward. Not a lot, just like this, just like a little pressure, you know, but it makes a big difference. What are we going to do here? Going to the left, we're going to pull towards us here. Push outward there, you know, away from us. Let's let him get ahead of us, and then we're going to speed up. Okay, ready? Actually, I was ready to speed up, and then I'm realizing they're... Okay, here we go. Now we got it. We're going to pull back towards us. Watch how it leans. See how we do it? We're going to do it again here. This bike, you really have to do that. Now we're going to pull towards us on the left. Now, when you click below, and we got some more coming up here, we're going to show you how to stop and stuff, but if you click below this video, look at the 250 one, and you'll notice it's just effortless. However, on the freeways, it seems like it's towards the top end of its power band. This one isn't even breaking a sweat on the freeway. So you see, it depends where you ride it. If you lived in the area like this, I wouldn't get a bike like this. You could suffice with the 250. Freeways, I would get a bike like this. Okay, watch. We got the stop sign, we're in 6th gear, right? So this is what you do. This is what I do. I coast, downshift to 5th. I'm not even braking yet. Okay, now I'm going to start to brake. Applying first and the brake here and the rear brake. I'm downshifting, slowly downshifting. I'm in neutral, notice. We haven't really come to a complete stop. If at all possible, just keep the bike rolling. It's great, you don't have to put your feet down. Practice balancing, knows how we're just balancing here. Now, we're going to get some good speeds. We're going to show you some more counter steering. You've got to learn, have to put my feet down. You've got to learn counter steering. It's a must. Okay, you ready? First gear, watch this. Clutch in, kick up, release clutch, roll back onto the throttle. So every time I'm shifting, let me show you, I'm going like this, okay? I'm doing clutch in, and I release the throttle, and then when I release the clutch, I roll back onto the throttle. That's how I do it. Okay, sharp corner here to the right. So what are we going to do? We're going to push forward this way and pull back this way. Watch. This will lean it. Pick it up. Upshifting. You know, you're going downhill, you could upshift. And we're all the way in 6 now. Now this is some counter steering here. We're going to pull towards us on the right. I'm not going to look down anymore because I want you guys to see this. But I'll tell you what we're doing. So now watch. I'm not going to look down at the counter steering, that is. We're coming to a stop, right? 6th gear, 5th gear. 4th gear. Now I'm starting to brake. See how I time it where I'm not moping along up to the stop sign, but there's a guy in front of me, so I won't speed all the way up there and then just ram, hold on a second, first gear. I won't speed all the way up there and then just jam the brakes on real fast. There's no need to, the guys in front of me. So watch, third gear. Okay, ready? Let's get on. Fourth gear. Fifth gear. Okay, so we're in fifth gear. Watch this. What are we going to do? Sharp right. We're going to pull back towards us on the left, keeping my head up so you can see. Watch. See the effect on the bike? This is a good one here. What are we going to do? Watch this. We're going to pull back on the right towards us, push forward on the left. And it leans the bike. Same thing here. Going up to 6. We're going to pull towards us on the left. Watch. Push forward on the right. I'm trying to take the corners kind of in a dramatic way so you see the lean of it, how it does it. Now here we're just holding it all the way through, and we have a stop sign, starting to brake, clutch in, kick down, got my foot on the rear brake, the front brake. They're starting to stop a lot more, so I'll just kind of downshift as I go. I'm in second, neutral. I like to do that. I like to tap down slightly, and then once I get neutral, I kind of just coast along. Now, another thing very important, when you come to a stop, watch the handlebars. See how, I'm going to come to complete stop. See how they're straight? Don't stop like this or like that, or when you stop, you can, let's go this way real quick. You can tip the bike over very easily. A lot of bumps. Okay, I was going to turn around because I want to show you something, but this guy's behind me, so I'm going to signal right, downshifting, downshifting. Okay, watch. First gear. Okay, so I want to show you when we come to a stop what we do. Okay, watch. Second gear, third gear. So I kind of have to go a little bit slow here because I'm almost bottoming out on these tracks. But when I get up here, watch, we're in third gear. Let's see if we can keep it. Yeah, we can keep it in third gear. Standing up on the pegs. So here's what you do. You're in third. Then coming up to it, I start coasting, right? Once I'm getting closer to it, I'll put the clutch in. That kind of speeds the bike up a bit. Shift downward, I'm in second. Shift slightly downward. See, I'm in neutral right there on the first. See how it was neutral there? Alright, no one's in front of us. Let's pick up on this. 30 mile per hour corner. We're going about 35, 40. So I want to show you something. It's going to pull towards us on the left. Watch. See how it leans it? You've got to learn that. Upshifting, opposite way. Upshifting. We're in 6. I'll tell you some true stories of some bikes I've had and what I've experienced with different bikes. You know, you would think, well, gosh, every motorcycle is like 2 wheels and handlebars and a motorcycle frame. How different could they be? They are radically, dramatically different. Quick below this video, look at the Ninja 250. You see how that handles on the Freeway, and then see how it handles on the twisties here, and compare it to this bike. You'll notice one excels here, and then this one excels better on the Freeway. Well, I started with the Ninja 250. It was like an old school Ninja 250. I think it was like a 2003. And I was on the freeway, and the top speed of that darn thing like 90 miles an hour, but it takes so long to get up there. And when a semi is coming up from behind you, you really have to wind it out on the tack just to get that Ninja 250 going. So I saw an ad on Craigslist for a ZX10. It was a white ZX10. It was the type, it kind of looked like this, you know, like a police officer type ZX10. And let me tell you what happened when I got that, my experience with that. Now hold on. We have railroad tracks here, and let me itch my nose a second. I'm downshifting 5th, 4th, and what I'll do, so I don't bump off the bike here, I'll stand up on the pegs right here now, standing up. So I'm way up above the pegs, as you can see, looking down at the bike, kind of my legs slightly bent. You can stand up on the peg, just make sure you don't flip over the handlebars. Wouldn't be too smart. Okay, 35 miles per hour, and we'll get to the ZX10 story. So watch this. What are we going to do? It's going to go to the right. Over here, up here. Actually to the left. Okay, good. So we're going to pull towards this on the right. Watch. Here's some other ones. Now, I know for a fact, okay, this one's going to go to the right, so we're going to pull towards this on the left. Watch. Now, I know for it as a fact we have a sharp corner here on the left, 2 of them, and then let me get to the ZX10 story, okay? I want to show you something. So, I'm downshifting. You know, that's one thing on the Ninja 250. I'm going to go left here. Sometimes these cars cut the corner, like that dude. The Ninja 250, you could actually stay in 6th gear through the whole thing. This bike, it starts to bog down because it's not as a high revving bike as the Ninja 250. Now this says 15 mile per hour corner. Speedo says 35 miles per hour on the speedometer here. This is kind of just like a, you know, little sharp corner there. One way you can learn counter steering, just do it when you're going straight. Watch what happens when I pull towards me on the right. See how we move to the left. When I pull towards me on the left handlebar, we go to the right. So this bike, it is much more difficult. I know I've mentioned that a bunch of times, but I'm surprised how much more challenge it is to counter steer on this bike. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to turn around, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about shifting and braking and some hazards. I haven't forgot about the ZX10 story, but when I got the ZX10, I was so used to getting on the freeway on-ramp on the Ninja 250, I would totally go like full throttle on the Ninja 250 because you had to, because the freeway on-ramp, some of them that you get on, they're very, very fast, and you have to get up to speed with the other traffic, right? So I'm such in the habit of having to do that, and I'm in my, like, you know, daydreaming and stuff, and I almost pulled the bike, flipped the bike up over me because I was doing that on the ZX10, and I'm like, wah! When the front wheel came back down, I realized, oh yeah, we don't need that much power. But I feel safer on a ZX10 on the freeway than on the 250. I am not, let's stop here in the shade a second. Oh, here's some shade. I'm not bashing the 250, phenomenal bike. I'm talking about just that one thing on the freeway. Okay, let's stop here a second and show you some stuff here. Okay. So, we talked about shifting. So remember, your foot goes like this, and if you slightly tap up, you're in neutral. You tap up again, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. When you want to downshift, you put your foot on top, and you do 5, 4, 3. Now, can you do 5, 4, 3, and then go back up to 4, 5, 6? Of course, you can go up and down the ladder, as often as you want, as long as your speed matches the gear that you're going in. You don't want to put it in second gear when you're going 70. Obviously not. So that's why you're always shifting up and down this ladder. Always up and down the ladder shifting it. So anyways, back to the ZX10 story, and then we'll go back out. Because I want to talk to you about another danger of riding. So I get the ZX10, and I notice the ZX10 is very, very heavy. It's heavy like this bike. And I was just munching through the front tires. The front tires would just constantly, I'd be munching through them, you know, day after day. I so much wanted to get that Monster Energy drink out of my backpack right now, but I'll finish the video and then I'll have the Monster Energy drink. But also make sure you get a bike with a windscreen. You'll be surprised how efficient these windscreens are. It's no fun being on the freeway without having a windscreen. Let's talk about some other dangers, and let's get started. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little higher speed on the way back, because we don't have as much traffic on the way back. So we kick down into first, right? We're slowly going to let the clutch out, giving it throttle, and now we put both of our feet up on the pegs. Let me tell you something that's kind of dangerous, okay? Watch this. What happens is, if let's say you're ready to take off, let's kind of put it like this, neutral. You're ready to take off and you put it in first, right? Let's put it in first. But then you start to take off and you mess up and you stall it, right? If you panic and you forget to pull the clutch lever in, the bike will lock into gear often, and then it falls over to the left or to the right. And this bike's very heavy, so you don't want that to happen if you're getting like a heavier bike, or especially the Harleys. So here's what I advise you to do when you're new. After a while, I mean, I never stall the bike in first gear. I never do that. But if I did, I'd be able, I have the leg strength, I'm so used to this bike, to put my feet down right away. So here's what I want you to do. Notice this leg's down, that leg's down. I'm going to keep them down and away from the tire, of course, but I'm going to kind of lift them up a little bit, but keep them out. Once I see I'm in gear moving, now I'll put my legs up on the pegs. Why? Why? Well, because if you stall it and it stops, your legs are right there to hold you. You want to pull your legs up for safety reasons the minute you're going, and you're only going like at a walking pace. But I see people crash like that. So let's do this again. Watch. Clicking down with the gear shift lever. I'm in neutral. So what do? You put it in gear, keep your feet planted. Once you see that the bike's moving and you've got the clutch all the way out and it's moving, you're not going to stall it, pull your legs up, put them on the pegs. Because I've seen it happen. People go to start. This is when they're new. I'm not talking about you guys that have been riding a long time. You'd be like, well, why would I do that? But I've seen new people do this. Pull the clutch lever in, you kick down. Once you start moving and you see that the clutch lever is all the way out, now lift your feet up, put them on the pegs. Now, other riders would say, well, that's kind of dumb. Why don't they just pull the clutch lever in? And that's true. That would disengage it from the motor. But when the motor's locked up and you're going like that, you know, and you're trying to balance it, most new riders don't think, oh, pull the clutch lever in. You know, by the time that registers, the bike's already fallen down on them. I've witnessed this. I've seen this happen to people. So check this out. We have the 15-mile-per-hour corner. One of the other ways you can take corners where it's easier, it's outside, inside. Notice I'm on the outside of the corner. I'm not hugging the inside. And then you just turn like that, and then I'm kind of going to go to the outside again like that. But let's get on it a bit, show you some stuff. So in some ways, if someone says what type of bike you're going to getting, what type of bike are you going to be getting, ask yourself, where are you going to ride it? Don't go by what people tell you to do. Always get a bike that matches where you're going to be riding it. Like, you wouldn't get a dirt bike, you wouldn't get a sport bike to ride on the dirt, you get a dirt bike, right? Well, same thing is, you don't get a bike that's designed for the freeways and total high speed. If you lived in an area like this, heck, the Kawasaki Ninja 250 would do just fine. As a matter of fact, I think it would do better. You'd get more out of your bike, because that bike, click below this video and check it out, that bike is very nimble on these roads right here. I mean, I just feel so confident on that bike. But, you know, if I had to choose between power, you know, I do like power. I do like the power of being able to just flip the wrist and you're gone. You know, I like that. Okay, so we're going to downshift. Notice we're not braking. Downshift again. Downshift again. Downshift again. Now we're starting to brake. Downshift into neutral. See how that is? Okay, so after the ZX10, I got a Gixxer. It was like a blue Gixxer, but the bike was so low, and I don't really have long legs, but the guy that I bought it from, he had it lowered, and even when I took it to the shop and they're like, well, that's like, this is about as tall as we can get it, it was mostly like a racing bike, so it was like lower to the ground. So I was like, my legs are always cramped. I mean, I love the bike. It was blue grips, blue windscreen. It looked really sharp, the paint job and everything, and it was a blast to ride. But after a while, my legs were just getting crampy. So then I got a SV1000, a Suzuki SV, like Sam Victor 1000. And here's the end of the train here. Hey, you know what? Wonder if I can get in front of these people. See if I can do it. So, I don't want people to get pissed at me, but this guy will get over it. Thank you. So I got an SV1000. That was a great bike. The problem with that bike, though, is the tank, the gas tank. Let's see if this guy gets over and lets me go. I'm going to say he does. Come on, brother. He's going fast, so he might not. All right, come on, brother. Woohoo! This guy's awesome. Thanks, brother. So, the gas tank was weird. It would go up into my ribs. And when I would tuck down, it's like you're hunched over this gas tank on the SV1000. And it was just painful. Now, the good thing, too, is we don't have anyone in front of us, most likely, because our friend the train here. So what was after the SV1000? Oh, so after the SV1000, I got this one. Believe it or not, for the way the places I drive to and everything, this one's perfect for me. I'm mostly going freeways. I'm mostly going long distances. I'm mostly going in extreme windy conditions. And this is a heavy bike, so when I get real strong winds, this bike says, is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to try harder than that. I don't really ride on roads like this. It's mostly long, you know, stretches, freeways, things like that. So we're going to show you how to come to a stop. And the one thing is, this bike, I need more room to stop. It's like a boat. Very, very heavy bike to stop. I know, when I was test driving that Ninja 250, it was so light. Hold on. 5th gear, 4th gear, 3rd gear, 2nd gear. Another thing too is, I want to show you something with the power. When you get on the Ninja 250, you don't have like this explosive power. I'm not saying like this is an R6 or anything, but a dramatic difference from 600 to 250. There's videos of guys that had ridden 250s or the Kawasaki Ninja 300, or what's that new one by Yamaha, R3, and then they get on their buddy's 600 and they're like, woohoo! They can't believe the power because it just keeps pulling and pulling, and you end up running out of road before you can top off. And there was a guy that had a R1 for sale on Craigslist, and it was a really good price. So I'm like, hey, I want to go test drive. I've never ridden like the R1 before. So I had the ZX10 and I had the SB1000, but those bikes are more on the high end, like they have a lot of torque. Like the tack never really revs high on that SB1000. I couldn't believe how awesome it was on the freeway, how low it would be on the tack. So so I go to meet this guy to test drive the R1, right? And he had another motorcycle there, one of his buddies, and I was in a vehicle. I was a cager that day in a car. So I had never ridden an R1, so I get on the R1 and it was so light. It's like a 250 as far as lightness, you know, just very, very light. And he goes, we're going to go down here, and there were long stretches of roads similar to this, but more open and straight and more commercial zoning instead of residential. And he's like, just get on it, you know. So I'm like, I pull the throttle back and it was awesome. Just like you pull I'm pulling the throttle back and it's like the whole earth rushing underneath. It's like as we're flying through the streets, and everything just rushing at you, and that was just 3rd gear. So once you have the bug, once you've got that RPM bug and you've felt the power of you know, underneath you as it's just propelling you, there's nothing like it. I remember when I got my first motorcycle, everyone was like, you're going to get tired of it. Boy, were they wrong. I've just fallen more in love with motorcycle riding, the freedom of it, the open environment of it, just the fun of it. It's just such a blast. There's a YouTube video where these two guys are on the freeway. I think one's on an R1 and one's on an R6, and they have these intercom walkie-talkies, and they want to see how fast they can get their bikes up to, and no one's around, you know. It's like a long, desolate, you know, highway, and they're just full throttle, and they're just side by side, and one guy would always kind of pull away from the other guy because his bike was a little more faster. The R1 guy was able to pull away, but they're just flying, and then they kept saying, what a rush, and it is a rush. So this leads us to the last part of the video. Should you start with a 250 or a 600, if you can resist the urge to just, you know, full throttle it and go crazy, you know, there's all these cars around and stuff, I would say, in my opinion, the 600 is safer for freeway riding. But under no circumstances would I say a new person, a new rider, get a bike like this. This is just way too heavy. It's very challenging to control. If someone could ride a Katana 600 and go through the twisties, you can ride anything, in my opinion, because it's a very challenging bike to control. It's not very maneuverable. But if you have the skill to maneuver it,
you can ride this, you can ride anything. So if you guys restart the video and you see a motorcycle logo here, like you can press the F5 key on your keyboard to restart the video, you can click the motorcycle logo and watch some more of our motorcycle videos. So what do we cover? Counter steering. You guys know how to do it. If I'm going to go sharp corner to the right, I'm going to push forward this way and I'm going to pull back this way. Braking, remember, first what I do is I start coasting, and then I'm not braking yet, and then I'm starting to downshift, and then as I'm getting closer to the light, I start putting the brake on. For emergency stops, forget about that. Just pull the clutch lever in and brake. So thanks for watching, guys. God bless, and ride like the wind out there. If we have enough battery time, I'm going to show you what I like about 600s. As we get on the freeway and we're going to give it some throttle, you know, just the pick up and go, you feel a lot more safer. Not to mention the fun factor. But we got a couple of blocks. The freeway's coming up, and I don't know if the battery time or the recording time is going to last. So we'll see what fate brings us. One of the things you can do to get to know your bike too is go side to side like this. Like I notice on this bike, as I go side to side, it really likes to stand up straight again. It fights me on the leaning. Alright, here comes the freeway. Looks like we're still recording. Yep. We're going to get on the freeway to the left. Downshifting to 5th, starting to brake because we're still going up a good clip, and of course this big boat. Toy hauler is in front of us. Maybe it'll be a 2-lane on-ramp and I'll be able to get in front, but once we're on the freeway, see how much time we got. Alright, here we go. So this is what I mean, getting on the freeway, you feel a lot safer than on a 250, at least in California. Now we're in 3rd gear, 4th gear. We're going to keep it in 4th till we get on here, and then we're going to give it some good throttle. No, no, no! I'm ready to get out of the guy's stops in front of me. Carpool lane! Woohoo!